All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to break down the absolutely incredible journey of a young fashion designer named Maya. And we're using her story to extract a real world blueprint for resilience, integrity, and building a genuinely meaningful career. We're going to trace her path from a tiny, rundown village house all the way up to a massive fashion empire. And along the way, we'll unpack the exact mindsets and the pivotal choices that take ordinary, painful setbacks and turn them into extraordinary success. You know, what's really fascinating here is the baseline this story sets right out of the gate. Having a deep, burning passion for your goals, it absolutely does not protect you from hardship and pain. We first meet 18-year-old Maya sewing an old dress completely by hand. She's fueled by her grandmother Lily's absolute belief that people are one day going to wear her creations. But right from the jump, we get this stark reminder that ambition isn't just about happy moments and sudden magical breakthroughs. It's about weathering the storms.
So that brings us to phase 1. Dreams stitched with tears, the inevitability of rejection.
Picture this. Maya takes a huge leap and visits a famous fashion company. She's proudly showing off her handmade designs, and instead of a polite no thanks, she gets dismissed by a manager who literally laughs right in her face. He actually tells her they hire professionals, not village girls. So the incredibly crucial point here is that her very first major step forward is met with brutal, mocking rejection from the corporate establishment. And look, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a creative trying to break into literally any industry, you probably know this exact feeling all too well. It's that gut punch moment when the gatekeepers tell you point blank that you don't belong. And man, as if that professional rejection wasn't tough enough, personal tragedy hits hard. A massive storm damages Maya's small home and completely ruins her sketchbook. Years of designs, all her best ideas, literally washed away in an instant. She's heartbroken, obviously. But right when she's about to throw in the towel, her grandmother Lily delivers this incredibly powerful anchor of wisdom. She says, "Dreams don't live on paper. They live inside you." It is such a profound reminder that your true vision, your actual raw potential, cannot be destroyed by external circumstances. The medium might be totally ruined, but the creator is still standing. Moving right along to phase 2. Discipline keeps doors open, moving from talent to skill. Maya doesn't just sit around licking her wounds waiting for another big break. She goes out and takes a job working as a humble apprentice in Mrs. Carter's small sewing shop. And honestly, this is where the real magic happens. Maya doesn't just rest on her creative laurels, she completely grinds to learn 4 critical, highly unglamorous skills. She learns better stitching, she masters customer service, she acquires vital business skills, and she totally overhauls her time management. These are the absolute nuts and bolts that turn an enthusiastic amateur into a seasoned, reliable professional. Mrs. Carter sees Maya's immense creativity, for sure, but she makes a point to drop this absolute gem of a lesson on her. And it brilliantly illustrates why raw ability is just never enough on its own. I mean, think about it. You might get noticed because you're highly talented, but if you don't have the discipline to actually meet your deadlines, or treat your customers well, or manage the daily grueling grind of a business, well, that door's gonna slam right back in your face. You've got to do the reps to sustain the success. Which leads us to phase 3, choosing integrity over shortcuts, owning your future. Right when her skills are really peaking, here comes the ultimate test, temptation. A famous, arrogant designer named Sophia Blake drops into the shop and actually tries to buy Maya's talent in secret. Sophia offers her fast, incredibly easy money, but there's a catch. Sophia's name goes on Maya's designs. Now, let's be real, for someone who grew up with practically nothing, this is a wildly tempting shortcut. But look at Maya's choice here. She flat out refuses the cash. She realizes that selling out like that means entirely sacrificing her long-term equity and her authentic legacy. She brilliantly tells Sophia that she'd rather stay totally unknown than steal her own future. Because she held on to her integrity, years of saving every single penny finally culminate in her very own startup phase. She opens this humble, tiny clothing shop with literally only 3 dresses hanging inside. She hires her cheerful best friend Emma to run the cash register, and together they fully embrace the joyful, human, and sometimes super clumsy reality of building a business from scratch. Like, there's this hilarious moment where Emma accidentally wears a customer's super expensive hat, and instead of a PR disaster, it just ends in everyone sharing a big laugh. It just goes to show that starting small and authentic absolutely beats a hollow, fake shortcut every single time.
Phase 4, the ultimate competitive advantage, beating the giants.
Boom, an existential threat rolls into town. A massive, shiny, brand new shopping mall opens up right nearby. Suddenly, everyone is flocking to the big brands, and Maya's little shop becomes a complete ghost town. So I want you to really ask yourself, when a massive competitor with seemingly infinite resources moves in next door and steals your entire customer base overnight, how do you pivot? How on earth do you fight a giant?
Well, her friend Emma, bless her, panics a little and suggests they start handing out free cookies, which, is a nice thought, but let's face it, it's a total gimmick. Maya realizes her true competitive advantage isn't going to be a gimmick. It's providing exactly what big money simply cannot scale. The huge shopping mall is totally impersonal, built for the masses. Maya's shop? She pivots hard and decides to offer deep, hyper-personalized care. She starts personally designing custom clothes for every single individual customer. She gives them a real, authentic, human connection. And wouldn't you know it? Word spreads like wildfire, and the people come rushing back.
And finally, Phase 5, turning pain into power, the blueprint for resilience. When you zoom out and look at the macro view of her incredible success, you can really see the slow, super methodical progression here. Notice there are no overnight miracles on this timeline. It was a step-by-step journey, from a village girl making hand-sewn clothes in a tiny house, to putting her head down and learning discipline at Mrs. Carter's shop, to bootstrapping a tiny 3-dress startup, all the way to eventually becoming the headline-making owner of a national fashion empire. It's a living, breathing testament to the compounding interest of hard work and unwavering integrity over time.
Eventually, the press comes knocking, and when reporters inevitably interview her, begging for the big secret to her massive success, she doesn't rattle off profit margins or fancy marketing strategies. She drops this profound, stop-you-in-your-tracks truth. My pain became my teacher, not my excuse. Think about how radically powerful that mindset shift really is. Every single rejection, every ruined sketchbook, every empty, silent store, she took those hardest, lowest moments and completely reframed them into her absolute greatest educational tools. And because her entire foundation was built on real, unshakable values, true success for Maya wasn't just about hoarding the wealth at the top of her empire, it's about the legacy. She cements her power by giving back, opening completely free fashion schools for poor girls and donating brand new sewing machines. She uses her massive resources to literally dismantle the exact barriers she once faced, beautifully clearing the path so the next generation of village girls can step up and chase their own dreams. Fast forward years later, Maya is standing on a massive stage, and she's holding the very first handmade dress she ever sewed. She leaves her audience with this phenomenal message. She reminds them that while life will absolutely try to tear your dreams apart, simply refusing to quit is what allows you to stitch them all back together. You get to decide the narrative. Pain can absolutely break you, or it can build the strongest, most resilient version of you. The choice is 100% yours. So, I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on as we wrap up today's explainer. Look, we are all going to face our own versions of that ruined sketchbook or that mocking, arrogant corporate manager. It's guaranteed. So when your inevitable storm hits, how are you going to react? Are you going to give up and let the rejection write your story? Or are you going to realize that your dreams live inside you, untouched by the rain? How will you choose to stitch your own painful setbacks into your ultimate competitive advantage? Keep that question front and center and start building your own blueprint today.